and they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And you move along, like, you go with it, and if you can't keep up, they'll get rid of you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pressure at first, when you get adjusted to it, you're like, all right, all right. No, this is you get one rehearsal, one take. All right, let's go. One rehearsal, one take. All right, let's go.
Dad! Brandon, run! Run!
How's it going?
How are you?
Good, man. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, just got off the call with your buddy Jim, so we
Oh,
talked about you.
oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So cool. Where are you at?
I'm in Los Angeles now. I'm back home in Santa Monica.
Okay, how is everything out there?
Well, it's been pretty crazy. The town just north of me just got completely wiped out.
Yeah.
And so, um, I think everybody that's, safe and sound is counting their blessings, and, just feel your heart's ripped out for everybody. I knew quite a few people that lost their homes.
Mm.
So it's been tough, man.
Yeah. How's the air? Is it better now or
The air's better. I got out of town. I went out of town for a little bit, went down to Florida, saw my mom,
yeah.
helped her out down there. And then I went to North Carolina to be with Rory so we could go, promote the film over in North Carolina and
Oh,
all that stuff.
nice.
So I just got back here the other day.
There you
So
go. And
yeah,
then they're coming to you guys to LA for the premiere. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
awesome, man. I've been talking to everyone on this. I talked to Dean already. Um, I talked to obviously Jim. I'm like really, I still have a bunch of more schedules, so I'm going to be done with the whole cast by the time Harlan I spoke to yesterday. So I'm getting through to everyone's thoughts on the film.
It's great, man. I I'm really proud of the work that we did in this film.
Mhm.
Uh, it's a great story. It's like Rory describes it, it's a thriller with heart, a
Yeah.
thriller that has heart.
It's a movie with heart, 100%. And plus a twist that I haven't seen in probably 2 decades too. Like
Oh, that's great.
I was
Yeah,
telling
that's great.
everyone, the closest thing that comes to this is the movie called The Game with Sean Penn and Michael
Yeah,
Douglas.
yeah,
In terms of that, no one will see this coming. I was blown away by it, and but you're
great.
invested in the story to see where it's going, and then it hits you, and it's like wow, and then you have this sort of heartfelt message at the end, which I mean, it's really just really clever and great filmmaking by Rory all around.
Yeah. Man, when I read the script, uh, Jim reached out to me because Jim and I we were in the same repertory theater company for a long time, and we did.
Playhouse West, we talked about it. I
Yeah, yeah.
might have been studying there at the same time or time frame where you guys
Oh,
were.
really?
Yeah, because I remember Mark Pellegrino and some of the people out
Yeah.
there too. I was like there in like 2012-ish. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
so yeah, maybe we somehow crossed paths before.
I'm
It's just
sure we
what an
did.
amazing place, right? The little shop that literally produced so many great talents from there.
Yeah. And it's a great place, and we did Welcome, then about Welcome Home Soldier. We had that play running for, was one of the longest running plays in LA for
Yeah,
a long time. And then Jim and I were in that play together, and he reached out to me. He just said, "Hey man, I got a part I think that you'd be you know pretty good for." And so the rest is history. I
man.
auditioned for it. I reached out to Rory. I auditioned for it, and then next thing you know, I was on my way to Laurinburg, North Carolina.
I mean, I can't see anyone else doing this role, really. I mean, you
Well,
literally
thanks,
nailed it
man.
too. It
Yeah,
just
thank
felt
you.
right up your alley. And then when Jim told me more, like Sean is like completely huge heart, but he's a damn badass too. That I know, So I'm like,
Yeah.
yep, makes sense because this guy's got a lot of heart too, but he's a tough dude. So it must have come natural in a way, right?
Well, hey, look, man. I just, especially the part where he's, uh, at the beginning with the character. My character has such an arc in it,
Yeah.
So I just made, I made all the choices. I had reasons for the things he's doing as that character. But then come to find out, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but
We spoiled it in some of the other stuff. I'll put a warning so everyone doesn't, know in advance about it.
but it was a great role.
Yeah.
And I think my bald head probably helped too. This is the first time I grew my hair out for a movie I just did,
Uh-huh.
and so this is the first time I've had hair in 14 years. And
Wow. A little bit different look. Yeah, you do it look a
I didn't
lot
know I
different
could
in the
still
movie.
grow it. It's pretty crazy.
It's a whole new career now, Sean, with a new look, different roles potentially coming in.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, but it's exciting. I mean, just imagine like just hearing the stories of how this film was made, under a month to shoot, and how everyone
Right.
had to come together, in this grassroots sort of effort, the crew, the cast to make this movie happen. And it looks like $1 million. And it really, sometimes you watch movies and like, oh, these people don't like each other. Like there's just like a disconnect. I feel like you guys were genuinely connected watching this film,
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah.
like it.
It was a family affair, and uh, we had it like me, Jim, and Johnny.
Mhm.
We had a thing we would say house money, and that's what we felt like we were playing. We were playing with house money because at this point, we had done so much work on it. Everybody was killing their scenes, and it was just going so well, and it was such a family. Uh, it felt like such a family,
Yeah.
together when we were there, and so we would say, "Hey, man, we're playing with house money. This is house money. We're in house money right now, So
That makes sense, to hear it. And then you see kind of Rory's background. Obviously he's done some great sports work. Have you seen his sports stuff? He's produced a lot of great
yeah,
documentaries and
great
films.
documentaries.
Yes,
Yeah,
fantastic. Some of those ESPN 30 for 30s, Rory's the
I
man
mean,
behind it. But
yeah,
to see him kind of diversify too, that hey, I can do a feature and do it really well, and he wrote it too, and all that. It's impressive to see this guy's talent too. What was he like on set? I mean, he's a creative filmmaker here and a guy that can do a lot of different things. But what was he like to sort of work with and interact?
he was amazing. Rory was very. It was he would listen to your ideas,
Hmm.
and it created a collaborative environment. And then also there were certain times when, he stuck to his gun. Like one of the things, they originally I had like a scar on the side
Oh,
they were going to give me.
okay.
And, and I was like, we did the scar and I was like, oh, all right, looks kind of cool. I got a scar. And Rory looked at it. He's like, yeah. He's like, I think it's just a little too much, And he goes, you don't need it. He goes, you don't need it. And he goes, also, we're gonna be shooting. It's gonna be hot. The continuity, trying to make sure that we get the same continuity. What happens if like you start sweating and then it starts to peel off, and it's gonna slow down our day. Just he had all these reasons, and at first I was like, hey man, I want a scar. I want to have a scar. I envision him having like this, he's like this,
Uh-huh.
and then and then
Trademark.
he and then he thought, and then I realized that he was right. He was spot on. Luther didn't need that.
No, because a lot of your stuff is facials, and I feel that the scar might have been a distraction from the
Yeah,
motion and sort of the lot of facials with this guy too. He kind of speaks subtly, but man, he's intimidating, in
yeah,
what he says.
yeah,
It's a lot in the face too.
yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah,
Hey,
it was a fun role. It was a great role. It was
yeah.
when I read the script, I I read the script and I was on the phone to Perrick right away. And I was on the
Hmm.
phone to Rory and I just said, hey, look, what do I got to do? And then they said, put yourself on tape. I put myself on tape immediately and was like, I got to have this.
Uh-huh. This is a self videotape, right? One of
Yeah,
those.
yeah, that's how I got the role. I just put myself on tape. It was the scene in the jail cell when he's trying to
Oh,
convert him.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a strong scene. That's like one of the main sort of climaxes of the film.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? We played that scene a lot of different ways. That's,
Mm.
it goes back to what you're talking about with Rory. You know, he just, we do it one way, and then he said, "All right, now try it this way, and then try it this way," and so it was just, you know, it was kind of like, you know, you're playing a game and you're like, you hit one off, over the left field. You're like, all right, let me go over here. And you hit a grounder over there. You're like, all right, it's just, and it's just like batting practice.
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah, let's try it. Let's try another one. Let's try another one. And it was just, and then you see the take that they chose is, it was pretty awesome. So,
Yeah, it made complete sense. But you had that, you were working on your swing basically, until
yeah,
you
yeah,
got the right cut of the hit,
yeah,
and the
yeah,
form. Perfect.
that's
I mean,
right.
that's well said there too. Uh, this movie interesting talking to Peric and his connections to it. I mean, he works with Rob Lowe. John
Yeah,
is sort of a writer on the show too,
yeah,
and Rob's son. It's just like there's so many connections to it. Jim's the big UFC fan too, from what I learned. It's so kind of wild. I don't know if you had these sort of moments or connections. Obviously, you had a buddy that you worked at, that helped you get this too. But did you sense of these sort of a weird but like super cool sort of a connection of people that and interests that really came together here? Because it seems like there's so many, like connections here that are unique.
yeah. And, my main connection was with Jim,
Hmm.
and that's what opened the door for me. But I'm a big UFC fan, so getting to work with Dean Thomas,
Yeah.
Aljamain Sterling, even James Stormbrand, who's
Wrestler.
he's a WWE wrestler.
Yeah.
These guys, we're getting to work with these guys was it was so cool, so cool. And to talk to Aljo, Aljamain Sterling, just
Uh-huh.
talked about like, fighting, and talk to Dean about fighting, because I used to be a pro fighter and I also wrestled in college. And so
Hmm.
I missed the MMA window, but I have sort of I have a fighting background. My family, my father trained me and my brothers, and
Wow.
like, fought in the amateur championship, amateurs all over the country, and then had like a brief pro career. But but I never fought in the UFC, and I'm a big fan of the UFC, and just to be around these guys. I mean, Dean Thomas, a legend.
Oh
It's
yeah, UFC. I mean, talked to him yesterday. UFC 32, Sean. I mean, we're at 311 now. This guy's been there from almost the start to see the evolution of this whole thing. In a
wild.
fighting game training. I mean, he's just like an encyclopedia on the sport.
Yeah, yeah. He's the man. And when we were shooting, he brought his mitts. I think I brought my gloves.
Jim told me about it. That Dean
But
said you hit hard as hell. That you're legit. Okay.
yeah,
He's
right.
Yep, that's confirmed already on both ends. So we got that. Did you're a hell of a hitter there too. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah, he gave me a workout, and I love how he knows he's a great trainer. I'll tell you that.
mhm.
It's a great workout.
Hey,
So
you could have made it, man. I mean, hey, you did well with the acting career, but if
yeah.
go rewind it backwards, maybe you could have done it in a big show.
Hey, you never know. So I think the good thing is right now I'm on the right path. Sticking to acting. The fight game's a tough game.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it's a lot of work and sometimes little reward. So, I had the career that I had. I was happy that, I did, but I have always wondered, like, oh man, what would it have been like if I had fought UFC? But
Mhm.
those guys that are fighting UFC now, they're just supreme athletes.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the dedication. Aljo's still going, he's an active
Yeah,
hitter. So that's amazing that he's, trying to diversify the fighting and the acting too. Credit to him, man, because that's a commitment
yeah,
to both ends.
yeah.
Unbelievable. My mom would be really thrilled because she'd be watching you. I know Young and the Restless. So I mean, it's a big hit in that sense
Yeah.
too. Amazing too when you look at your career, getting to work on a show for many years like that, and doing different sorts of films, and working with big directors like James Mangold, and doing stuff like that. You've had a really kind of diversified career too for yourself when you look back, didn't you?
I think of myself as kind of like a journeyman actor.
Mm,
It's
I
like
like that.
I just kind of trudge along, and uh, dealt with so much disappointment and rejection along the way.
Mm.
And but then you land something, you hit here, you're there, and so I'm very proud of all the work that I've been able to do and all the you know, different avenues I've been able to take, and working on the Young and the Restless was incredible just because it taught me to work fast. It taught me to like
The
to
turnaround's crazy, right? When you're
yeah,
doing
to
shows like soap
memorize.
operas.
Yeah, we shoot 80 something pages a day. They
Whew.
sh they shoot 6 episodes in 4 days. I mean, it is just a breakneck speed. And it's the number one show in daytime television for a reason.
For
It's
decades,
it's
Sean,
a
for decades, not just.
well-oiled machine, and they know what they're doing.
Mm.
And you move along, like, you go with it, and if you can't keep up, they'll get rid of you. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pressure at first, when you get adjusted to it. You're like, all right, all right. No, you get, one rehearsal, one take. All right, let's go. One rehearsal, one take. All right, let's go.
Man, it's just the consistency, but that trains you. That's what a kind of a, a teaching, a school of
Yeah,
acting in a sense to learn.
yeah, it really is. And I'm so thankful that I had those 4 years on the show.
Yeah.
Really, I'm so thankful.
Yeah, I feel
So.
like a lot of actors really come out of it. You look at the sort of the career on how many major actors started in soaps, and it kind of makes sense, to really kind of break your teeth in with that, and learn and just experience that. It just, I'm sure it does wonders for later on, in terms of preparation.
Yeah, and then I mean, there was one time I had all the pages spread out. I think I had the next day I was shooting close to like all my stuff for like 3 episodes. And
Wow.
I had the most I had to memorize was 64 pages. I had 64 pages and I spread it all over. I have a picture of it somewhere. I spread it all across the floor, all my lines, and I was like took a picture of it. I was like, this is by far the most memorizing I've ever had to do.
How do you
And
do it? Do you have tricks then to do that? Because that's like on a short turnaround too. How do you kind of do that? How do you
it's it's a muscle that you learn to train.
hmm,
And especially when your storyline is cooking, they're giving you a lot of episodes like when you're on the show, because storylines will get hot and then they go cold for a
sure.
while. So you'll have a bunch of episodes, and then sometimes you only have a few episodes a week. And then this is during this stretch where my character was really popular. I had a bunch of like really interesting storylines going on the show, and so sometimes you get front loaded like that. You got to shoot all these different scenes together. And so I think after a while you start to know the character,
Hmm.
start to know how he talks, you start to know how he would respond to things. And so when you know a character like that, it's kind of easier to memorize it. Now, mind you, it's not like they gave me these lines the night before. So
Yeah.
you have like 4 to 6 days, to really work on it, and so I took it one scene at a time, one scene at a time, memorize one scene at a time, memorize one scene at a time. A lot of time in the mirror, and a lot of I would record the other person's lines and
Oh,
then
interesting.
leave my space blank, and then just sit there and just go over the scene until I knew it, until I knew it. And then also like write out your objective and what you're trying to get, and so like little notes on your script and stuff that helps you memorize stuff too. If you know what it is you're really trying to achieve in the scene, and what your goal is, and like what you're trying to get from the other person, that helps you remember things too. So
Are
just
these
the
things you
whole.
figure out on your own or sort of pick and choose from other methods and whatnot?
Well, I had, there I've been lucky enough to where I've been able to work with a lot of like great acting teachers over the years.
Hmm.
Gary Imhoff, uh, Milton Katselis, uh, 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 Bob Carnegie at Playhouse
Hmm.
West,
Yep.
Richard Lawson at Beverly Hills Playhouse. So like I've kind of like I've been able to work with a lot of great guys, and one of my uh, acting coaches and like friends and and sort of like a rehearsal buddy is a guy named Josh Baton. And Josh Baton has been an acting teacher for a long time, and he's also an incredible actor. He's in
Mhm.
the new Batman series that came out,
That's
and
right.
yeah, and also the Grotesquerie series. He's also in that. And Josh Baton, luckily at the time he would run things with me quite a bit, and anything that I was kind of missing or lacking, he would always like kind of chime in and be like, I think you mean this here, and like you kind of work it out. So it was kind of like a workshop. Uh,
Hmm.
Kind of gets you through those times when you're working on a lot of dialogue, and you find yourself sometimes you might be not understanding a scene the way it's supposed to be, and so you kind of skip over something, and then so just having someone to work with just keeps you on point. And Josh
Hmm.
helps that. So
I mean, the industry's changed so much. I mean, since even the Playhouse West days that you were doing, I mean, so much more now, digital stuff. There wasn't probably not much self-taping back then. You would go into the audition room and then see the
yeah,
casting
yeah.
director in person. Do you think now, in the terms of where the industry's at, easier, more difficult, or how do you feel about it compared to how you sort of when were brought up in the industry?
And I will take taping an audition over going in the room and
Okay.
audition any day. Now, that's for theatrical, that's TV and film.
Yep.
Commercials, I want to go in the room. I used
Mm,
to sh- I used to shoot a lot of commercials. And commercials is usually like just a few lines here, a few lines there, and it's like
yeah.
a nuanced delivery, with a
Sure.
product, or like, representing a product and like certain looks and little things. And I find that kind of stuff is so much easier to do in person when you're there and you can like interact with the camera guy, or if it's a callback and you have the director and the producers there, they can tell you, they can, and it just you're there, and you can kind of like do it in person. And it's just, I find that that's because, like, like I said, like commercials can be kind of nuanced.
Yeah,
uh
100%.
and it's usually about the product and like a certain look or whatnot. And so I prefer commercial auditions in person. Theatrical, which is TV and film, I'll make a tape any day over going in a room and sitting there with all the other guys.
Yeah.
They're going over the same lines you're going over, and there's like everybody's
Everyone
kind of,
looks the same pretty much too. Yeah, I know what you mean.
and it's just like, yeah. And then you get in front of them, and then, I mean, if you're making a self tape, if you mess up, you just hit stop and then record it again.
Yeah.
And you can get the best performance to turn in. I mean,
Mhm.
you can't do that in-person auditions. I mean, I've done it a few times where I'm like, can I get one more? Can I do that one more time? Can I
Uh-huh.
do that? And then finally they're like, I think we got it. I think we got it. Thank you very much for coming in. No, I know that I can do it one more time. Just let
Uh-huh.
me, and then, anyways.
Although
So
the one thing I would say probably about self-tapes is sometimes people have now become good self-tape auditioners, but still can do it really well in person too. So sometimes it could be fool's gold. I'm sure with your experience and everything, you can nail both. But there's been people that kind of condition themselves to self-taping and becoming good at it, or sort of, reshooting, redoing it, but taking away from actually then being in person and not being able to do that.
yeah, I don't know about those people. Okay. It's like, hey, look, man, I concentrate on what works for me,
There you go.
and So I'm thankful that I'm able to do it. And look, if we ever have to go back to taping in person again, I guess you know, I'll
I
do
think the
my.
industry's changed. Plus, like, I think the casting directors probably prefer it too, instead of seeing hundreds of people in a day and then the actors all the driving you to do crosstown, in traffic. It definitely
Uh,
shortens the amount of time and allows probably to see more people that way too.
yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like how like I think it varies like how casting directors feel about
Yeah, I
stuff.
think it's a split. It depends on who or maybe how long they've been in the game too. If someone that's used to doing in person for decades or years, it's a big change, in that sense too, or just, a new way to do it completely different that way.
I mean, in the end of the day, it's got to save them time as well,
Yeah.
and so make their job a little bit easier. So I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know, man.
I know it's always an
It's
interesting kind
the
of
time
question.
we're in.
I'm a big relationships person in front of someone. I feel like sometimes you can nail something or get something
Yeah.
just through having that vibe and feeling someone's energy and what they're like in person. One thing I always hear about, I'm sure you're aware of this too, with directors. I always hear one consistent thing whenever I talk to him. I'd rather have a much lesser talented actor, but someone's a cool person to be around on set, someone that can hang and take directions and just be a joy. Because sometimes it's stressful to be on these sets versus someone who's super talented but might be demanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one thing that I like try to like pride myself on is that I just try to do the best work that I can and be easy to work with. So that
Mhm.
way they'll want to work with you again. It's not, and I think there's that goes for any career you're in, you
Yeah.
know? Be easy to work with and just do a good job. Do a good job and be easy to work with and, so people want to work with you again.
Yeah. It's
I
so
don't under I I've experienced people that are pains in the asses on set and I never really understood it.
it just doesn't make sense. Are you doing this because you really love it? Is this your passion? Because if that, you wouldn't be miserable or just like in a
Yeah.
bad mood or trying to make things difficult, right? If you've been trying to strive for this all your life and you finally get to this point where you get to do it, that's the dream, right?
Right. Yeah. Be
Yeah,
thankful. Be happy.
right.
Like,
I mean,
you
this is
know,
what you wanted to do. If not, then you're in the wrong business then, of something. But
when
yeah,
I'm the happiest is when I'm on set and I'm doing some good work and I'm working with good people and
yeah,
like that. That's what it's all about.
yeah. It
So
seems like
you
with
gotta
this
just
with this project in particular, there's been a lot of sort of connections and relationships made for the future. I feel like too. Just speaking to some of you guys, it just seems like there was a bonding thing that happened on this film that it seems like it's gonna last, or maybe you guys will get together on something again.
well, there definitely was. I mean, Rory even, I don't know if he told you, have you talked to
I'm
Rory yet?
talking to him next week, so I talked to Harlan, Dean, and Jim already. So I still have a few more.
And uh Rory, after we finished this movie, he told me, he goes, so I'm gonna have a fight. And I go, what do you mean you're gonna have a fight? He goes, yeah, I'm gonna have a boxing match. I'm like, what? What 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 are you talking about? He's like, yeah, he's like, so you know how he does the Dana White looking for a fight?
That's right.
Yeah, he produces and directs that.
Hmm.
And so he set it up. He's always wanted to know what it would be like to walk into that ring because he always he's around all these UFC fighters for the show and all these fighters all the time. And
Hmm.
so he set up a boxing match with this guy and I forget the guy's name. But the guy, I think the guy was a cop or an ex-cop. And I think the guy had a couple fights, a couple amateur bouts,
Hmm.
and it was a boxing match. And so he set it up so that he would fight on the Dana White looking for a fight card. And it was in Denver, Colorado, when they did the episode where they were in Denver, Colorado. And so
Uh-huh.
he trained for a while for this. And then when he came to me and said that he was going to have a fight, I said, "Wait, You're gonna do what? You're gonna have a boxing match?
Like a legit one? You know, it's wild. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I go, hey, you gotta do me a favor. You gotta come out to LA because I still train at a gym, and I traced, I would train people on the side, in between my acting gigs and stuff like that. And I still work out myself. And so I said, you got to come out to my boxing gym in LA next time you're, oh, did you see that? Look at
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty cool. It's acknowledging.
Yeah. So, uh, so I had him come out. I said, come out. Let me know the next time you're in LA. I want you to come to my gym. And I got to see it. And so he came to the gym. I said, we got to spar. I got to see what you're going to do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so we went in there and I gave him some good sparring to get him, I tried to give him, a good look, and gave him some shots. Like I wanted to hit him real hard and just make sure that he knew what he was getting into. And, and so we trained for a week or two out here, and then he went back and finished up his training with Dean Thomas because Dean's an amazing
Oh
trainer.
yeah.
And so then got him ready. I tried to, help get him ready as well. And then he went back to Dean, and then Dean, finished up getting him ready for the fight. And then he went to Denver on that card. I flew there. I was like, I got to see this.
No
So
way.
I flew to Denver to see this fight, and the fight started, and Rory had a rough first round because this guy that he fought was really
Uh-huh.
tough guy, and but Rory has it in him. Like he has a no quit attitude. And it's like that with anything he's done, like all the work, any projects he's ever been on, he's always running into obstacles or
Uh-huh.
roadblocks, and he always pushes through and delivers a great product, like all those documentaries he's done, like this movie. Um, and just like that in this fight, he had a rough first round. he, he took some good shots in that first round. It was looking kind of grim, but
Oh
then
man.
he pulled it together. He pulled it together, and Dean and Jared Gordon gave him some great, uh, they were his cornermen, and they gave him some good advice in between the rounds, and he came back out and he won the rounds 2 and 3, and then won the fight.
Wow, I cannot wait to ask him about it. It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. And
This is,
so,
I mean, you guys are a community then. In that case, you're helping each
yeah,
other
it was
out
cool.
in a fight game and everything.
It was
So,
really cool because I got to sit ringside next to Matt Serra, and
ooh,
and
wow.
and Matt Serra and I were sitting next to him, next to each other, and we were just cheering Rory on and everything. It was really cool.
That's
Uh,
awesome, man.
Matt Serra's
Wow.
a cool dude. He's a cool dude, and what a great fighter he was. You know what I mean? And so to get to hang out with him and the Dean and Jared Flash Gordon was there working the corner for Rory. Got to hang out with him and meet him, and so it was just an awesome weekend. And I think I met Dana that weekend too because he eventually came,
Mm.
and Rory introduced me to him too. So it was a cool weekend.
Wow. This was after the shoot, right? After the
It
movie
was
wrapped.
after we shot the movie.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
it was like a month or two. I think it was a couple months after we shot the movie.
Rory
So
should have just
yeah,
made a
Rory,
documentary out
Rory,
of this.
Rory will remember exactly when it was.
Rory should have made a documentary out of this. That would have been super damn interesting too, you know?
I think he did record a bunch of it. I
Oh,
don't know what ever happened to it though.
man,
So
I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna ask
yeah,
him then. Oh, this is so cool. I love
it was
hearing
cool. It
stories
was really
behind the
cool.
scenes.
Yeah. What's
Uh,
that?
I'm like, I love hearing these stories about you guys behind the scenes, and all that
Uh,
I've learned so
but
far.
it goes back to what you're saying. I mean, it created a community, this
Yeah.
movie, and a friendship. Rory's, one of my best friends now. I mean, he's like he's a great guy, and just, uh, and Dean Thomas is one of my boys now, man. I love talking and hanging out with him, and he's a great guy, and it's just the friendships we made on this movie were just They were pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Man, I'm bummed that I won't be there for the premiere to see you guys all in person. But I'll be in New Orleans for the Super Bowl week, so I'm not complaining too
Oh,
much.
okay.
So
All right.
yeah, I'm covering the Super Bowl for the second year in a row, so that's a highlight for the year for sure.
Wow, that's gonna be cool, man.
Yeah.
I was just in New Orleans back in December,
Mm.
and or it was the end of November, beginning of December, and the Rams played the Saints.
Well, that's right. Yep, they did.
I went to the Superdome for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm excited. I've never been to New Orleans in general, but this is going to be
yeah,
an awesome trip, and going to go to that Superdome too. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
I'm excited. We'll find out who's going to be in the game on Sunday. But are you a big NFL guy or
Oh yeah,
yeah?
definitely. Uh, Unfortunately, growing up, I was a Miami Dolphin fan. I grew up in Miami, Florida, and
Well,
so
depends what years. If you had Marino, you at least
and
gotta.
we had Marino, but we never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's tough.
So, uh, but I got tired of my Sundays being ruined every Sunday when I was, so finally, like, uh, when I got older, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna cheer for different teams and different players and kind of like be more like a free agency guy.
Yeah.
So that way my Sundays aren't ruined.
Yeah, fan of the league. Believe me, I'm a Bears fan. I know better than that. So I'm always keeping an eye on all the teams around the league because it ends early, this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm telling you, who do you got? I'm thinking Bills, and somehow I see two upsets: Bills and Washington. I think is going to
And
be the
so
Super Bowl.
who I want is the Bills versus the Commanders.
Yeah,
Now, who I think it's going to be is going to be the Chiefs against the Eagles.
Eagles.
That's
Yeah,
who I think it's going to be. Who I want is the Bills versus the Commanders. That'd
I
be incredible.
think we're gonna get what we want. Sean, I think
So,
something this year. Josh Allen's on an absolute mission. They got rid of probably even the more tougher opponent in Baltimore. I
yeah.
just think there's something, and they beat the Chiefs this year, the one team that beat the Chiefs. So I just think there's something in that special going with that team and that player, and I think they're gonna take it. And
I hope so. I hope so. The problem with the Chiefs is the Chiefs, they just show up and they know how to win in these big
they
moments.
do. They're clutch. But one thing that concerns me when you look at sort of the stats, that team has not scored 30 points all season long. And that's supposed to be a
Yeah, right?
juggernaut. Yep. They have not scored. They had not had a 30-point game all season long. So in today's NFL, when, scoring's high and Buffalo can put 30 up. So if they don't get to 30 and they haven't this season, I think they're going to go down. And I just sense it. I think it's Buffalo's year, and Washington's just been that sort of Cinderella story, and they're all coming together. And I think the Eagles have some injuries. With Jalen Hurts sort of potentially not being right, I think they could take them.
Yeah, the only thing about the Bills being in the Super Bowl is I don't know if I have it in me to watch them lose another Super Bowl.
Oh, I know,
Oh,
especially to
so
Washington.
they
If
better
it
win.
happens to Washington, Sean, I
Okay.
mean that.
I can't stomach another Bills loss in the Super Bowl. I can't.
I get it. I get it.
Guys,
Especially it's to
four in a
Washington.
row. 4 in a row they lost. I remember all those games. I
Oh,
remember the game against the Giants when they missed the
field
field
goal.
goal.
Yeah,
Oh,
heartbreakers. Yep.
oh. So
Maybe it's going to be it. Maybe it'll line up and history will repeat itself, but change it for a different way. But it's
let's
going to be
go.
exciting either way. So, but yeah, enjoy the premiere. I would have been with you guys. I would have come out to LA to do it, to see it. And, but I hope to be in touch with a lot of you moving forward.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for watching the movie and thanks for, interviewing us, man. We're really excited about it. And,
Yeah, I'm
you know,
proud to be a small part of it and spreading the word. I think it's just a movie like this. It's like I said, grassroots efforts, word of mouth, to get it out there, and that's how people will find out. And when they do, they're gonna see a really good movie. So I'll
yeah,
do
I think
my end of it for sure.
yeah, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. All
Hey
right.
Sean, let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, you got it, man. And
Hey,
go Bill.
go Bills. There you go. Take care, buddy.
Hey, brother. See ya.
Bye bye.